Is it wet? Is it cold? I'm gonna drink it.
You shouldn't have ever tried playing on acid. Terrible idea. I think it would have been easier to actually throw a real no-hitter than to try to do it on the show.
Yeah, but fucking you fought cancer, you can fight Mike McCarthy too.
This is Past the Rock.
She got a vibrator and I got an Xbox, so it is over. I'm playing NBA 2K, she's playing with herself, but either way, we're both thinking about LeBron.
And the man, he goes like, my name's Philip, just call me Dallas.
Toilets! 1,160 toilets in your house! We do not want people waiting in line who wanted to get back to their damn seats.
I'm gonna go to Lake Tahoe and I'm about to get me $25,000 in a craps game. You ever play craps?
Have I ever told you about the Michael Sam stuff? We actually know, or we've met Michael Sam, like me and like a lot of the Dallas.
What the Rock is cooking.
Recording live from three locations, this is Past the Rock. I'm Patrick, and as always, I'm joined by two great men, Caesar, aka LCs.
What it do, baby?
And Jacob, aka Bethke.
A little more subdued. Don't let it fool you. I'm here.
Guys, it's great to have you back. Missed you last week. We'll press forward into the normal swing of things. A lot going on, obviously, as the NHL is headed towards their playoff stretch. NBA doing the same. We just kicked off the NFL free agency, which we'll get to. Then, what sport did I forget? Baseball, obviously. Spring training's coming around to the midway to the end point, and then we're getting the World Baseball Classic on top of that. Super fun stuff. USA advanced to the quarterfinals. Y'all probably didn't see that, but that's nice to see. Mike Trout came out and brought the house down.
Hell yeah.
So I don't want to kill too much time on that. We'll briefly mention the Stars are kind of teetering around right now, plateauing a little bit. Still first in the division, second in the conference. Just trying to turn things around heading into the playoffs. I'm still pretty confident in the team, but you like to see a little bit better results than what they've been putting out the last month or so.
Do you have
a reason for their decline?
Well,
I don't know. It's just a long season. Yeah, I like to hear it. We'll get there. I think we'll do a little bit more as the playoffs start to approach. Once we have seeding and stuff, and I can talk matchups. That'll be a little bit more palatable.
And needed for me.
And I think it's less of a decline and more just kind of a regression to what the team actually is, which is probably the best team in the West. Just not that much better than everybody else in the West. And then when you start getting into series, playoff matchups, then I think you'll start to see that they'll dominate pretty much everybody in the conference.
And Boston's far away the best team?
They're really good. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if someone beat them just because it's a 7-game series in sports, but they are the best team for sure.
It's 7-game series in the most insane sport in the world because I don't think any other sport has as many 0-3 comebacks, right? Or like 3-1 comebacks. I guess it's not even a thing.
There can't be anything. There can't be anything close to that with what they do. And then if a goalie stands on his head, it doesn't matter how good a team is. You know, he can turn it around, kind of similar to a single basketball player being able to dominate a series.
Yeah, but
It's
even
been
that's
one of the
always
weirdest-
been kind of a maxed out feature. Like, has there ever really been like a goalie
They have
that
to
someone's
sit.
felt like?
Martin Brodeur could have. You could have thrown any crappy team in front of him, and they probably would have gotten to the second or third round of the playoffs. It felt like every single year. There's a few. Patrick Waugh, I would say. It would maybe be the entire playoffs where they're carrying the full team that load, but to some extent they could if they needed to.
Yeah.
I don't know, but all that to say, I haven't lost too much faith in the Stars, if any at all. I think they'll be good, and I think in a 7-game series format with one of the best goalies in the league, we're gonna make a lot of teams sad.
Yeah, puncher's chance, and I mean that's all we can ask for. I don't know enough about it to know if there's any paper tiger-ness about it, but I mean so far so good, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I have a question for you, Patrick. Where the hell does the term "standing on their head" come from?
Good question.
I don't get that at all.
I think if I had to guess, because I've never looked it up, which I'm about to, the idea is that they're doing so much that at one point they were literally doing a headstand, stopping shots.
Oh shit.
Okay, I mean that's cool.
I'll
It
see
seems
that.
really inefficient, but all right. I don't think you get a lot of movement for putting all that pressure on your neck. But hey, go for it, I guess.
I think a lot of times it has to do with, so you give up, someone shoots it, you block it, and a rebound, and then you have to kind of jump and dive. And a lot of times they kind of do that scorpion like leg kick over thing. So it's just an exaggeration of that.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes some sense, I guess.
I think it should be. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hyperbolic expression of someone's just playing out of their mind, and he's all over the place. He's covering all the ground. It's a great question because I've never really thought about it at all. I just always have heard it, understood that it meant the goalie's playing very well, and then just moved on.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, I'll buy whatever you have to say. Cause
Is there a equivalent to mouse in the house? I feel like hockey there could be an equivalent to mouse in the house.
that's funny.
They might just use that or a fox in the hen house.
No. But like, is there like a matchup? You know how all these guys, like, it's really annoying now, but like how guys will score on smaller guys and then they'll do the low to the ground thing is like in basketball.
Yeah,
It's
Luca
like
does that shit all the time.
They all do it.
Oh,
It's so annoying.
no.
Too little.
I've never seen it. I
Mouse
don't
in the
watch
house.
everybody's celebrations, but the celebrations usually aren't directed towards anybody.
Mouse in the house is legitimately like a part of it's like kind of all together. So like people yell it. Like if you ever listen to the games, you'll hear people yell "mouse in the house." It's literally just a big guy on a small guy. And but it's
weird.
like a part of strategy.
Never heard that.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of sports on mute, so I miss a good amount of it.
Oh, I love the NBA rims are mic'd up, so we just constantly hear them talking shit to the refs. It's like we hear so much of it now. It just cracks me up when they.
I wouldn't mind getting a feed that was just that in-arena mic stuff, but I don't want to hear most broadcasters.
Tell me you don't want to hear Joe Buck?
I don't mind Joe Buck. It's no one specific, really. I just don't like most broadcasts in general. I think the Stars do a great job because I really enjoy listening to Razor, but
the propaganda and patronizing is really gross in a lot of the markets. I will say that it is really gross. Like you're talking down to fans, essentially, in my opinion.
And sometimes the regional ones could do a better job if they hire the right guy. If they're allowed to expand more on the actual game itself versus having to cover all these corporate talking points. But then you got to battle the homerism in a lot of the regionals.
And these are the guys that are causing the fans to be so irrational about everything too, because they just hear it all the time. They repeat all these things. They hear it, hear it, and then it's like the gospel because Michael Cage used to be a backup center in the NFL or in the NBA. He's not even a good example. Like he's really actually not Homer at all. But like, there's some of those dudes that are nasty homers, bro. Like literally, the Warriors.
Harp.
Harp is bad. Harp is. Dallas has one.
Sean
of the worst
Elliott's
of
a
all
pretty
time.
strong homer too, but I don't think he's. It's not as. It doesn't bother me quite as much, but maybe that's just because I agree sometimes. So
Sean Elliott's just a little boring, if I gotta be honest with you. Sean's
might be
just
why
not
I
bringing
don't.
the flavor.
Yeah, that might be why I don't have that vibe from him.
Sean's just a very subdued dude. Michelle Beadle gets on there every now and again, and it makes it kind of enjoyable. I miss whenever she used to do her thing. But no, like, yeah, a lot of them are boring, dude. The Warriors is like a parody of itself. But anyway, this is a tangent we don't need to be on. But it's a good tangent.
And on that note, we'll go ahead and get started with probably the biggest stuff of the week, the news coming out of the NFL. So I'm going to pass the rock to Caesar.
All right. So I know that there's been a lot going on here, fellas, with not just the free agency, but we had a huge trade that's going to shake up the NFL draft and possibly had a very big effect on the NFL free agency. So I want to start off with that first and foremost. The Panthers kicking things off in the offseason with the blockbuster trade heard round the league. They traded up for the number 1 overall pick to the Chicago Bears. Now, gentlemen, you probably are already familiar with the package that they gave the Bears for that number 1 overall pick. But let's just go ahead and recap it. And I want to get your thoughts, guys, because I feel like the Bears kind of fleeced the Panthers on this one to some extent. Now, the Chicago Bears are going down from the 1st overall pick to the 9th overall pick. They will get a 2nd round pick in 2023 and in 2025. They're going to get a 1st round pick in 2024, I believe, and then they're also getting DJ Moore back in return for the right to switch spots. Dog, if you're asking me, that is a lot to trade up for the number 1 overall pick, and I don't get the sense that Carolina knows exactly who they're trading up for. Because I feel like you would, if you knew who you were trading up for, like maybe you might.
Oh, they might
wait a little bit.
If they don't know who they're trading up for, that's a very different story. Because like this sounds targeted. It sounds like whoever's the number 1 pick, they had to compete for this trade package.
Guess so, man. It's wild because I look at the it's gonna be a quarterback, right? But like, man, you just traded away the number 1 receiver on your team. This quarterback's not gonna have a lot to throw to coming in. So if it's going to be somebody with a lot of polish, I don't anticipate it being Bryce Young, because I just think he doesn't fit the stereotypical profile that of quarterbacks that Frank Reich has worked with in the past. By that I mean, like, Frank Reich has not worked with a starting quarterback under 6'4". The entirety of his time as being a coordinator or a QB coach or even a wide receivers coach, for that matter. I think the shortest guy that he's worked with is Jacoby Brissett at 6'4". To let you know just how the size profile of the quarterbacks look like under Frank Reich.
Reich's also a big.
So that's and so I would imagine like you're either gonna draft Anthony Richardson or you're gonna draft CJ Stroud, and neither one of those two strikes me as like, yeah, this is the guy you should take with the 1st overall pick. Anthony Richardson, based on talent, sure, right, but based on production and how far away he is from actually being a good NFL quarterback. Oh boy, you probably could have had him at 9, unless you were that worried that someone else was gonna, hop over
Maybe
you
they
and take
were.
it.
I mean, to be fair though, this guy, I understand that it's mostly about just the physical traits that his profile, but like, what I'm talking about, that Madden thing. Like, if this was Madden, it's a no-brainer who I'm taking.
Absolutely. And then, the crazy thing about Anthony Richardson is the comparisons that he keeps getting is to Cam Newton. So to bring in, like, I guess, like the spiritual successor to Cam Newton, just in terms of physical traits, I mean, that would be kind of a good way for the Panthers organization to get some goodwill with the fan base. But you're asking your fan base to be really patient if he's your 1st overall pick, because you just lost Donta Ford earlier today. You lost DJ Moore. And let's be real, they didn't have a lot of weapons outside of those two guys.
They they
have
one reset anyway.
Probably.
And they had, I was just gonna say, if they thought, especially if Richardson's a guy, and it's you think he's a project, and you need to make that QB move this year. I'm looking at the list. The Texans, the Colts, the Falcons, the Raiders could all technically draft quarterbacks. So I can understand why they jumped up.
Yeah, no, I get that part too, especially with NFL teams seemingly freezing out any possibility of trading for Lamar Jackson and fixing their QB troubles that way. So bold move by the Panthers. They're really banking on whoever they draft being essentially a guy who can make up for a lack of a number one receiver and a lack of future draft picks in the coming up ahead. Now, I will say the Christian McCaffrey trade that kind of helps ease the burden off of this. And who knows? They might still make some more moves and just tear it all down. Trade Brian Burns for something else. Who knows what? But I'm sure you could get like a high day 2, maybe even a day 1 pick in the future if you are interested in trading a pass rusher who has been putting up some quality stats over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, Kelvin Joseph in it too. Call it in.
Or who knows? Maybe they find someone who wants to jump up to number 1 who hasn't yet, and then they trade that. Go back down to like 4 or 5 or whatever.
Oh my god, that'd be a big brain move, right?
That's pretty funny,
there.
actually. That's. Have you ever seen Draft Day?
No, I probably need to watch it just for the. I will watch it so I can review it for the podcast.
Good, because I think you'll enjoy it. It's any sports fan. It's a must see because like it was clearly not made by sports fans.
More than I've ever rolled my eyes. Yeah.
He makes some of those galaxy brain trades of all time that are truly legendary. Like truly, like they're completely confounding. Like you're literally just.
Well, let's
at the
be
end
fair.
Of the movie, like, what?
If they used the actual story of the owner listening to a homeless guy, you would say they just made this shit up. No way that would ever happen.
Hey, don't talk about Buck's minority owner, whatever his name is. Udonis Haslem.
Yeah, Udonis Haslem.
Udonis Haslem. Yeah. Oh
he was the owner of the Cavaliers a time or two.
Yeah. Somebody's getting kicked out of the arena in Detroit tonight.
Ooh, for what?
Nice.
Nothing crazy. It's just two dudes dressed in all Gucci with beers in their hands talking shit to somebody. I kind of wasn't paying attention.
So nothing too scandalous.
No.
Yeah, but no.
Worse has happened in Detroit.
Oh, for sure. Now, in terms of this Galaxy Brain, this kind of reminds me of when Howie Roseman traded out of the 6th overall pick, go down to 12, and then they traded with Dallas to move up 2 spots back into the 10th spot to take somebody that would have been available at 6 anyways, and Devontae Smith. And a part of what I remember that particular move so much is because the Cowboys and the Eagles just had like this little truce and said, you know what, let's fuck over the Giants real quick, and it was beautiful. It was harmony, in division harmony, right there. Cap Boyd and Howie Roseman came together to give the finger to Dave Gettleman.
Davey,
that was a beautiful, beautiful moment. Now
I don't want to work. I don't want to work with anybody in my division. Fuck them all.
I don't remember any trades last year that would have been of note for my team at all. So we're going to move on.
Yeah,
fair enough. All right. Now, gentlemen, let us move on to the free agency. There has been a lot of crazy maneuvering happening here and there. Some of the best players in the league have switched teams, and some of the more notable names, but maybe not some of the best talent, have also found new homes. I'm looking at you, Derek Carr. That man went over from the Las Vegas Raiders to the New Orleans Saints for 4 years, $150 million. That's crazy that the Saints think.
I was told they signed his brother.
I think they might be.
I don't know if y'all saw that, the initial report. They listed the wrong Carr brother.
No, that's for real?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? Shefty?
I hope it was Schefter. I really hope it was Schefter.
So long ago now, it's hard to know.
That man tweets like he's never been in an English class in his entire life. I'm not one to talk about proper punctuation and grammar, but Jesus,
we're not paid journalists, so
Yeah, dude, he
Exactly.
cracks me up. He's so proud of his little defeat. Newsbreakers.
He has such awkward tweets too. Like he will quote tweet somebody else and just have like this random image of the of whatever player he's talking about and looking sad and shit. I'm like, Shefty, what are you doing, dog?
Assault.
Why are you? Yeah, like why are you tweeting like you're like a 75-year-old man who just discovered Twitter for the first time?
He kind of is, because like he does it. It's not the social part. It's like his job. You know, this is where he puts. This is where he prints money.
Garofalo said the pound sign Saints are closing in on a deal with QB David Carr. Sources tell me, and at sign rap sheet.
That's oh man, Garofalo. Well, you know what? In his defense, David Carr is his colleague, I guess, at the NFL Network.
Texans legend.
But I just think it's like
Cowboys,
the Saints
right?
have. What's up?
David Carr beat the Cowboys, right? Was he on that team? The first team?
Was. Yeah, he was. That was he was the first quarterback for that team ever.
Legend.
And they almost sent his career. Well, they did kind of send his career to
Insert the sound of a dying horse with thousands of men around it, baseball bats.
I mean, to be fair, that probably is the lowest moment in y'all's history since like we've been alive.
This is Past the Rest.
Now, gentlemen, I want to talk about a few more of these. Well, not a few more. There's hella more moves to talk about. But I think we should kind of focus more on our teams right now before expanding further into the rest of the league. Now, Patrick, your Minnesota Vikings really haven't been all that active. They brought back Harrison Smith so he can get burned some more.
Hey, come on now. He's playing in a new scheme now. He's not going to have to be relied on to cover as much field.
No, I need to know.
They're still going to find a way to burn him.
I need to know how many draft picks in Minnesota.
How many draft picks do we have this year?
Yeah.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ooh.
Yikes. 5?
First,
Okay.
Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
This is an interesting trajectory from the team, because I get where they're like...
part of that's because of the Hawkinson deal.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, it's worth it.
Yeah. I agree.
But I think the only thing to really say about what the Vikings are doing in free agency is they're not going to be picking up anybody that's trying to win anything anytime soon. They're just going to be filling up the roster to fill up the roster.
Listen,
and a
I can
couple
tell
comp
you
picks next year. Eric Kendricks, that'll be a decent comp pick.
Well, they already have one, I think, right? Let's see. Hold on.
Well, you'll get the comp picks from next year.
Let me see. Who's the biggest free agent that's left the Vikings?
I think it's Kendricks, right?
No, Dalvin Tomlinson.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, 4 years, $57 million.
Someone's going to get Dalvin Cook at some point, and he might still have a year or two left.
Yeah, but he's not going to be worth many comp picks. Let's be real.
Well, yeah, the running back market's
I don't know how any of that works.
Somebody just set the market, at least like the mediocre
Miles Sanders.
Market. Yeah,
Miles Sanders set it with $25 million for 4 years.
This is Past the Rest.
Yeah, the second round is just an awkward round where it's these guys who aren't good enough to be in the first, but they are still technically good enough to be, not a third round pick, but they don't really hit as often as you would like them to, considering the investment that a second round pick is. But yeah, that's like I said earlier, this is part of a different story for another day. Let's go ahead and talk about the Cowboys, Bethke. It seems like it's the usual modus operandi for the Cowboys. We're just gonna re-sign our guys.
And then it came from the heavens. It came from the heavens, bro. I was so shocked. I was so shocked. Not the big news, not the sad news. That I was not shocked about. That we'll get to. But the trade is. We'll start with the trade, and then we'll get to the other news. Is how I'd like to do it, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. You know what? Go ahead. Let's hear.
You're right. It totally shaped up to be a Cowboys are restructuring everybody. Everybody's restructuring. Look at all this cap space. Look at all this cap space. Where's the Cowboy at? Oh, they're I forgot. And honestly, Cowboy fans, it's weird when you track the yacht. Stop tracking the yacht. I know it's the radio guys too. I know you guys are all doing it. You need to fill airtime. I get it. Don't, whatever. You know what they're going to do? It's just going to piss you off, man. It's just going to piss you off. Every year they get mad that they're just sitting on a yacht during free agency. And I don't understand why people do this.
People don't understand that they can work from the yacht.
I literally, it's like, it is what it is. And who knows how much like is even being done. It's all at this point just the Twitter stuff.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Cowboy fans seem to forget that Will McClay is probably not on that yacht and is probably doing some work in the office.
Ideally, you want certain people to be on a yacht in the middle of fucking nowhere while other people are hard at work.
Yeah, like there's no distractions. Yeah, I think it sounds perfect.
Just conference call the big guy in when you need him, right? That sounds good to me.
Yeah, imagine flying a free agent out onto your yacht. That's kind of a power play right there.
Well, yeah, and then you have to have of course, but that's
and then
the
Brian
part.
Flores tells on you, and then it's the whole thing.
True. But no, so Stephon Gilmore is a Dallas Cowboy. Although it is a little weird that he's on his
Been a
fourth
fan his
team
whole
in
life.
4 years
His
now.
dad was a fan.
He said the
uncle's a
line.
fan.
He said the line. We're very happy that he said the line. Right. Saying the party line. Stephon Gilmore said it. But we don't need to go back into that tangent. If it got cut, it got cut. Anyway, yeah. So happy to see some actual moves. Some more restructuring has been done. There's plenty of rumors. I'm just going ahead and, they can't give me a little bit and expect me not to act like a fool. So now I'm like, okay, so how do I get DeAndre Hopkins on this team? I'm over here fucking doing the math on the, what's the gif of Zach Galifianakis, from fucking Hangover.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing all of that right now. And so I've got that dream in my heart. I'm ready to be let down, of course. But, I don't know how to act. The Cowboys did something they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Two things they were supposed to do, but I don't want to get to the second one yet.
Fair enough. And then have you put any stock into some of the rumors about the Cowboys trading for a wide receiver like either Jerry Jeudy or anybody from the Denver Broncos? 'Cause it seems like the Denver Broncos are looking to shop Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton.
Not for whatever they're trying to fucking screw us over. Like, now I'm glad they're dealing with Catboy. I kept seeing some of the rumors that what they want. I'm like, shit. Call Steven with that, see what happens.
It's gonna get clicked, yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Say, put your dad on the phone.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, sorry, Dad's incapacitated right now.
He's a little
on the yacht.
And then he's gonna be like, what about Kelvin Joseph in a fifth?
Or Jerry, like he's gonna be like, Sean, I love you like family, but I'm not doing that shit. Now, if you want, I can get you a 6th-round pick in 2025, Kelvin Joseph. You know what? You could talk me into a 4th-round pick in 2026. And now we're
called me yesterday. You could have had Zeke.
So hey, stop stepping on it.
You know what? Let's just go ahead and talk about it.
No, hold on. I got a Boss Man Fat thing, and then we'll rip the Band-Aid.
Just prodding the bear.
Boss Man Fat had a really funny, I guess he went live and was like, "Why are they doing this to me?" And then I guess had a change of heart and got caught. But of course, the fans already got his ass, and it's all on the internet. So I thought that was a funny reaction to the Stephon Gilmore news.
Oh my God.
Also, CJ Goodwin has been retained. So the stud special teamer who was injured last season, I think, to part of it, is back. So, like I said, Kelvin Joseph for a 5th. What are we talking about? The 5th? I don't know. I'm just saying, he's got talent. You're just going to have to deal with everything else. But yeah, so that was just a fun note I wanted to add. As far as finishing on the trading for a receiver thing, to be honest, I feel like they're going to overpay Odell. Feels like it's kind of telegraphed.
I don't think they're actually going to do it.
It feels telegraphed though, right? Unless they're thinking maybe DJ Chark. Has Chark been signed yet? Because that feels like a guy who could also be a very Catboy move, where it's like, oh, you're kind of reasonably costly and kind of look like what we want.
Yeah, I can give you the information on that.
So
He is still a free agent.
Yeah, so I think that could be the most likely Cowboys move. And then this money that they've cleared up that everyone's getting excited about is most likely going to go to Sedarian, Trayvon, who the fuck ever is, Biotish. They're going to have plenty of deals to think about. And you know that Catboy's always thinking about the money he's going to have to spend. So I'm sure that that's also a competitive. Cowboy fans always have to remember that some of that is competing with that ideology. That cap space you have is there, but in the ideology of the front office is not there. I don't think that's the case this time. I do think they're going to try to get some receiver in, but I feel like they're in on Odell, and that might as well get us into the more important topic, because that's kind of why I think it's Odell that they're courting.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to edit this.
Can you pour a 40 out for Zeke? Yeah, let's put some audio of pouring out a 40.
I'm just going to do
let's get into it.
A quick little summary of it, and then you guys can be mean or nice, and I'll allow it. I just want to give my heartfelt, appreciation. The Dallas Cowboys, after much anguish, decided to release Ezekiel Elliott. It's a tough day. My little party panda is moving on. Moving into a new chapter of his career.
Uptown will never be the same.
It won't. And I just want to go through a little list of things, little memories lane kind of moments.
Oh, bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
So
low-key faded, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh, honestly, that was going to be my sign-off too. It was, good luck to my low-key faded king. I'll add that first since I was joking. I hope that the goal, I don't know, Caesar, if you have a team that could be in mind. I know the Bucks are already reported. My goal is for him to have a LaDainian Tomlinson second chance. If y'all remember, LT got a really nice little gig with the Jets where he had some other guys with him, and all he really needed to be was kind of a locker room leader and kind of, pass block, get average closest to 3 yards as you can, and they'll be happy. So that's where I'm kind of hoping, just so he keeps kind of adding to the resume. I think that there's a Hall of Fame caliber player there that maybe didn't get to the fullest extent of his successes due to a lot of things that unfortunately fuck a lot of us up when we're in our 20s. But I want to go down my memory lane here. On Zeke's draft night 2016, we're all working at Del Frisco's. I don't know if Caesar, you were there, and I don't know if Patrick, you were there that night, but he got drafted. I remember I was hanging out with Brandon Smith upstairs watching it. We were supposed to be waiting on our tables, and we weren't. We were both basically hugging each other, looking at it.
No way.
We were like, oh my God, this is about to happen. They say the name. We're excited. Everyone's like, that's stupid as hell. Joey Bosa already got drafted. It was Jalen Ramsey.
Nick Bosa. Jalen Ramsey, yeah, Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, it was Jalen Ramsey that was supposed to be. It was who we should have taken. And I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I was ready to roll. We had a great offensive line. This was going to be the thing that extended Tony Romo's career and got him a Super Bowl. It was the greatest moment. I was like, we've done it. We've found the piece that we need to get Tony a Super Bowl. Some other stuff happened and things didn't go that way. But Zeke, you did your part that year. And for that, I will always thank you. You were leaping over eagles. You were plowing through purple people. You hit a game winner in Pittsburgh as a running back. I don't know how many game-winning runs there are in NFL history, but you got one of them, buddy. Most memeable Cowboy of all time. Maybe Michael Irvin is, it's going to be tough between Mike and Zeke, but I do think that those two ultimately are the most memeable people that have ever put
on the
Cowboys
field.
teams.
Absolutely Zeke.
Yeah, I think so.
The actual rookie of the year in 2016.
Yeah, and it was nice for that. This isn't about that. But that was it. That was there's a lot of fun memories. It was also funny to go through all the legal issues because it felt like Zeke always kept getting this, like, I never understood it. I don't know if it was Jerry that pissed off the NFL. I don't know if Zeke was doing more that we didn't know about. But, like, it always cracks me up how much trouble Zeke was constantly in for just being basically, like, for lack of a better word, a fuckboy. And then the NFL is just constantly filled with these jackasses doing crazy shit. Even our own players getting in these reckless car accidents, driving crazy amounts and don't even miss games. It cracks me up the way the NFL punishes their players. And I really wish that Zeke would have had a better respect for the law and order of the league he played in, because I think that he thought there was a lot of times he was going to be getting away with shit that he did not get away with at the end of the day. So that's the frustrating part of the thing. But one of the funnest dudes I've ever watched play. Even as bad as he got with his last couple of years, dude still just did not want to take tackles for losses the same way that other dudes do. And I think that's always going to be the defining trait with Zeke. When he was a younger guy, he was so smart about when he got into the secondary, turn his back real quick and then just take that hit on the back plate. Like, just, I think, really underrated player for a lot of reasons. And I do wish that I could have changed it there. That there's just some maturity levels where you're like, man, if this is different, this isn't even a question about how great you are.
I honestly don't know that I would. I don't think that I don't think his career was really hampered by anything he did. I think it was just the overuse early on in a league that you just can't do that. It's just going to break a guy. Not everyone's going to be Derrick Henry or Frank Gore. It's just not fair to do that to anybody. He was asked to do way too much. Because I never thought that he wasn't trying his hardest to be the best he could be. He always seemed like he really wanted it. So I like the guy. I think and if there's anyone that you're gonna have fault with about things that happened with Zeke, it's all on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
drafting him maybe too high, for re-signing him when you didn't have to, when he was never going to hold out, all that stuff.
My biggest argument there would be, you didn't do the change. You didn't do the change of culture that was necessary when you brought in Dak and Zeke. You gave them to the guy who kept the culture bad, and you let him sit with them for 4 more years.
Well, the guy who keeps the culture bad is still there, and he's the one who had to make the announcement.
No. I get what you. Yes. Jerry Jones, blah blah blah. He's the devil. The reality is,
the devil. It's just Jason Garrett, the common denominator.
Yes, I understand that, but he's also a common denominator in some success, and I don't think that it's fair to just completely write it off because it happened forever ago. There's some logic to the way that man works. The problem is that he keeps hiring guys who don't fucking work like that. Like, he hired a patsy, and he let him sit there for 10 years so that he could get all the credit, and that was the karma that Jerry got. Like, you tried to just build this thing your way and do it your stubborn-ass way, and you left a head coach in that was going to basically not necessarily rot your franchise, but definitely make sure that it never progressed the way it was supposed to based on the talent it had. And that was Zeke and Dak's biggest issue going into there. They should have had a new coach. There should have been a new regime to start the 2016 season, even though I know it was supposed to be the Romo Cowboys. Should have been. I don't care. Injuries aside, we already knew who Garrett was. But we've been down that road with him, and it is what it is. Good luck at Notre Dame or whatever the fuck you're doing now. Commentator.
Yeah, so I'm gonna bring something up that's a little surprising to me, at least. I'm sure, Beth, you're kind of aware of it, seeing as you followed Zeke's career. And that's the amount of touches that he actually got throughout the course of his career, which I think is a pretty crazy number now that I look at it.
I mean, I don't know it specifically, but yeah, what's the numbers?
Yeah, he is 18 touches, like overall touches, short of 2,000. 2,000 touches. That's 1,881 career rushes across, a 6 or 7 year career, and 101 receptions.
Wow.
Oh no, 305. I am sorry. He is actually. I was looking at the wrong stat. Oh yeah, he is. Shit, he is well over 2,000 touches for his career. He is at the exact number is 2,186 career touches, receiving and rushing.
Sounds like
That's
310 a year.
Yeah, that's something crazy. Let's see.
What about the Bengals? The Bengals might need him, right? Because their running back keeps acting a fool, right?
I don't know if they necessarily need him.
I don't think he's going to fill. I don't know if he's filling the Joe Mixon role though.
Well, no.
Yeah, 312 touches, by the way, is career average.
The last thing I want to do is see Zeke go to some team who's going to be like, "Oh, Ezekiel Elliott's going to have the ball 30 times." Because I feel like he probably would sign up for it again. But like I would, not to do that. I would love for him not to do that.
Yeah, you know who else has a lot of touches in that same span as Derrick Henry, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down.
That's another one that you tie to Zeke, as most Cowboys fans will tell you could have had Jalen in the first and Derrick Henry in the second.
But still, the amount of touches is still pretty significant.
30 other teams.
Yeah, it's 309 touches separate their career usage.
Dang.
Yeah, that's tough.
That is tough.
So what if Zeke signs with the Eagles? That's the last part of Zeke's thing.
Yeah, no, there's no way.
You don't think he's going to play with Rodgers?
Hell no.
Oh, yeah. Do the exact LT role? That would be amazing. I would love that. Just do exactly what LT did.
Yeah, the Jets are just
play for Brady wherever Brady goes.
Oh god.
No, okay. Here's the most likely, in my opinion, where I think he's most likely to end up. If it's not going to be Tampa Bay because they don't have a running back right now, or I mean, I guess they might have a running back. I don't know who the young guy is, but he replaced Leonard Fournette. Guys, we're missing a very obvious candidate here. The Los Angeles Chargers. His OC's over there, and as far as I'm aware, that OC really likes to run the ball.
No, I don't think so at all, actually. I think that was sort of what they were hinting at. So that would kind of be tough, because I really think one of the biggest issues that we struggled with was Kellen probably wanted the running back to do more as a receiving threat. And obviously Zeke just never progressed there. Like there were flashes, obviously, when he was younger, the screen game. But man, the receiving stuff just never got better.
No, but his pass blocking was pretty good.
Excellent. I would still probably think he's one of the best pass blockers. That's why I was joking. I was like, if they brought him back this year, just make him a fullback. I was like, fuck it. Like, why not, right? Like, if they're going to pay him and swallow the fucking contract, like, let's just do it.
Yeah. You know what is surprising is I'm looking at his career receptions, and I mean, aside from the late part of the career, the middle part of his career, he wasn't bad at all, especially 2018 where he had 77 catches.
I would look at drop rate or something, yeah, because the eye test, I'm sorry, I love him to death. I would defend him against anyone, but that's the one thing that it just kept.
It's definitely not a route runner.
Yeah, maybe he's not the smoothest guy, but his catch percentage is actually not bad. His career catch rate percentage is 75.9%.
And then you also got to think about who's calling all those plays and when they were calling them. You know, there's so many variables.
Yeah. Like I said, I just have a lot of lasting images of, unfortunately, his quarterback not putting the ball where it needed to be, it being a little, not like egregiously, but just it being a little off, and Zeke just not being able to adjust at all.
He's not good enough for a receiver to
put zero adjustment, like zero. If it's not there, it's not there for Zeke.
You gotta hand it to him, yeah.
Yeah, so that was just the kind of issue. But, like I said, still one of the best athletes for sure that I've ever seen play for the team. Definitely one of the most entertaining.
Would he finish third in rushing yards?
He finished third, which is a little sad, you know what I mean? Because, like, that was kind of why I was like, how do we figure out this thing long term? And, maybe he was, because ultimately it's like, you want to be mad at the Cowboys for the signing, the way they did it. But for Zeke, it's like, he did the right move for him in his career, and can't be mad at that.
Absolutely. Dude, it's an incredible move from a player. I've never heard of anything like that from a guy in a position that's just so undervalued.
Like
for a guy who knew that how much he meant to Jerry Jones, and he knew that I could do this, and he did it.
Yep, he did. And like I said, very impressed by it, by him as a whole after 7 total years, I guess. I hope that he has a good second run, and it would be cool if he got to do like one last year in a Cowboy uniform. You know what I mean? Like, not necessarily ever anything significant again, but it'd be cool if it wasn't just like a one-day retire thing.
They should More guys should come back to teams as like placeholders or long snappers.
Well, like in the NBA,
Well,
you
his
always
last
got
place
the
was
veterans
a
on the
center.
bench.
You can't touch a long snapper.
True.
And his last play as a Cowboy
His-
was taking
His
a
last play was at center. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna cause anybody
For
to
all the
want them
memes.
to do that. That's the other thing is I need them to have one more. I needed them to just bring him back for one play so that technically the last play wasn't that dumbass shit.
I mean,
Okay, I still think the Colts versus Patriots one will always be the one I think of when I think of just the stupidest play I've ever seen in my
That
life.
meant something at the time, and Cowboys were just trying to pull something out of their ass.
true. Oh man, but yeah, no, I have respect for Zeke as a player. He always, one thing that always bothers me, at least with the local media, is let's talk about Dak owning the Philadelphia Eagles. When you look at what he's actually produced against that team, it's never been flashy. It's never been statistically that impressive. But you know who has been statistically impressive?
Dak or Zeke?
No,
Sorry.
no, he's right. Let him cook. This is I know where he's going. And he's
Yeah. You know who has been statistically impressive against the Philadelphia Eagles? Fucking Zeke. That man always had a highlight run against the Eagles. It didn't matter what era of the Philadelphia Eagles it was. He was jumping over everybody, stiff-arming guys, and running away from defenders. And it was maddening. There was nothing we could do to stop him. The only year that he just did not look like the Zeke that the Philadelphia Eagle fans are used to just seeing run over their team was the Super Bowl year, because that Cowboys team wasn't any good. They had offensive line troubles. So shit, it was like the one saving grace in the entire matchups that the Eagles have ever had against the Dallas Cowboys during this Dak Zeke run. So to that, I'm going to say, I'm not going to miss Zeke at all. I'm glad that he's leaving. He is an actual
honestly.
Eagles killer, and Dak Prescott just happens to just feed off of that reputation that has been created during this run. Because like, oh, Dak owns the Eagles. He owns the Eagles. He doesn't own shit. Zeke Elliott does. So shove it, Cowboys fans, with your Dak Prescott love over the Eagles. It's all Zeke all the time.
Well, they're gonna hit you with that T.Y. Hilton go route.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna hit you with that. And don't forget, I was live there one time when Dak beat you by himself, or not by himself, but when he got his new toy, when he got the Super Cooper for the first time against the Eagles, and that was an amazing one.
Yeah, that doesn't change the fact.
Zeke was always consistent. Like even when Zeke was going through some ruts, it'd be like, oh shit, the Eagles are coming, but damn, well, at least we know we're gonna have a ground game going.
Yeah, it didn't matter how good the Eagles defense was. Zeke was going to get his, and
but that was
Dak
the thing
was
about
going to
Zeke
prosper
was,
from it.
It was rarely ever beautiful, especially towards like the middle and end. But like it was always so consistent that like that's why those fucking ruthless pieces of shit like Jason Garrett could just call those mediocre ass plays because they knew that they had that this little like gift that would keep them floating on first and second down. You know what I mean? Like just keeping, like he wouldn't lose yards. He would keep them at least at advantage, or he would gain one or two steadily here. And just having that consistent weapon was it was crack to a crack fiend, unfortunately for us. But you just got to commend Zeke for all that. And of course the great offensive lines and all that blah, blah, blah. But that man was spectacular.
Yeah, I won't deny it. I will give that man his props and wish him the best of luck in whatever AFC team that he's going to go to, because I don't want to see him in division. Yeah, I think Zeke's going to be a Baltimore Raven. Now that I think about it, it just makes sense. They always bring in.
Oh, okay.
They always bring in running backs because their running back room stays hurt consistently.
Well, like I said, I just hope it's useful. I hope he is reinvigorated in some way. But it is on to the next season and the next chapter, and I think there is some real positivity in that as well, because it's one less guy from the Garrett era. It's one less excuse, one less point of comfort for the quarterback who needs to feel a little uncomfortable. And to his credit, answered questions pretty well today.
I haven't heard any of that yet or seen any of that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was just nice. I think he understands. Like, I think Dak gets it. And honestly, I think it's why McCarthy's smart for betting on himself the way he's doing it. I mean, it could still blow up in both of their faces. Like, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but
No, I mean he's got to position it. He's got to give himself the best chance possible to succeed. And
yeah, I mean,
this move.
It certainly feels like one way or another, the decision on the futures of Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy will be in tandem, and it will play out through the 24 season for sure. But yeah, I mean, there'll be plenty more on the Cowboys. Who knows what the fuck they're going to do? Everyone's trolling and saying we're going to draft Bijan Robinson, so I guess I'll just go with that.
Wouldn't be surprised hearing Mike McCarthy talk about how the Cowboys need to run the ball more.
Well, I mean, they need to run the ball more consistently than they were, which is why they needed to move on from Zeke.
You know who else needed to run the ball more? The Packers under Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is whether he'll try to duplicate what he did with
like a lot
Aaron,
of coaches. He says a lot of the same. He says a lot of the things that you're supposed to say, but then you just look at it and you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you're actually buying what you're preaching here.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see with this one because he's putting his own nuts on the table with this one for sure.
It's nut up or shut up time from old Big Mac.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how conservative that offense is gonna be.
I don't think it'll be too conservative. I think that's the worry.
No.
It's like what is Dak and out going to look like?
It's just what does Dak have left?
What?
Does he have a return to form, or is he just kind of what he's been the last 18 months?
I mean, let's say that they even do go nuts and get this DeAndre Hopkins deal done. Like, that's a hell of an offense, but they're still going to have to find a running back. They're going to have maybe two running backs, honestly.
And I don't know how much he has left. DeAndre Hopkins.
But that's what I mean. Okay, but you're not talking about a guy who's like, okay, well, he wants a new deal. So apparently he'll take less money, but he also wants a new longer deal or something. I don't know. Whatever the situation is, you're at least
or
adding
guaranteed,
a guy.
I'm sure is what he's looking for. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're adding a guy that is better than the guy you probably shouldn't have brought back, but you brought him back and you made him cheaper again, which is at least good, I guess. Or you made him cheaper. And then Sid Arian, who should be continuing to develop in his career, and thus far has, and hasn't really shown me much reason to believe that he won't continue to be a very productive receiver. I don't know if he's like big time number one guy, but he does a fuck ton of things for us, so he's a pretty useful dude. Rate his use and his growth potential, so be interesting to see.
For sure. All right. Well, let's continue moving on into the rest of the NFL free agency, and we'll go ahead and talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and whatever the hell Howie Roseman has been cooking up. It looks a lot like they're just bringing back the band together. They've lost Javon Hargrave, Marcus Epps, T.J. Edwards, and Kaiser White, so that's 4 starters. And there's a possibility that they still lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But his market hasn't been developing the way that I think he's wanted it to. Jesse Bates, for example, safety from the Bengals, got 4 years, $64 million from the Falcons. I think that's what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's kind of expecting. And to this point, no one has offered him that number. So if the Eagles bring him back, and then at worst, you're down 3-4 starters on defense. And you have plenty of draft capital to try to replace that. So the Eagles are definitely going to be worse on defense this year. A lot older, a lot slower. Now that they brought back Fletcher Cox, and for whatever reason they extended Darius Slay. There was that weird.
You got to give the whole Darius Slay rundown. Because this has got to be one of the weirdest things that's happening.
All right. Absolutely. All right, boys. Let's take it from the top with Darius Slay, because even I was like just absolutely dumbfounded. So, prior to free agency, right, there was no talks of Darius Slay looking for extension or looking for more money, right? There was just none of that. It was all just kind of focusing on trying to bring back certain free agents because you had very little room to work with, and they still do. Let me preface this with saying that the Philadelphia Eagles had about $6 million to spend in free agency. They have spent way more than that. I don't know where the room is coming from in the cap budget, but whatever, that's not my problem. All right. Right before free agency starts, there is news breaking that Darius Slay was given permission to seek a trade by the Philadelphia Eagles because apparently he wanted more money. Which, you know what? I don't blame you. You're a really good player. You had a Pro Bowl season. I think he might have gotten some All-Pro considerations. I don't remember. But either way, he was part of arguably the best 1-2 tandem at cornerback for the 2022 season. Then, as you know, Drew Rosenhaus doing this thing, trying to see if there is a market for Darius Slay. There's talks that the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles have been in contact with one another about a potential trade for Darius Slay. And the initial report was that the Philadelphia Eagles talked to the Dallas Cowboys about that. I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense to me, why you would call a division rival about trading one of your best players. Follow-up tweet. Howie Roseman probably hit up somebody at ESPN saying, hey, why'd you leak it like this? I need you to kind of spin this around. And then they kind of just changed the wording on that, saying, no, the Philadelphia Eagles didn't call the Dallas Cowboys. There was just some preliminary talks. Something like that. Not verbatim. Either way, they made...
It was basically like Slay got to go have a conversation if you want.
Exactly. And I don't even know if that conversation ever actually happened. Plus, that doesn't seem like something the Cowboys would do, because it's a 32-year-old corner, and Catboy is not notorious for giving out large contracts to aging veterans, at least outside of his team.
Yeah, well, they got the put up and shut up deal with Stephon Gilmore, because I believe they'll have to. I think it's just a 1-year contract that Gilmore's on. So essentially, it's like, well, if this fucks up, oh well.
Yeah, and I guess also the compensation for like trade compensation wise, it might have also been just a little bit too steep.
Massive difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because Howie Roseman's not settling for whatever the Jones boys have to offer.
The 5th round.
Yeah,
5th round pick is what they got Gilmore for. So that's the easiest decision you could ever make,
exactly.
Especially knowing how they act.
Exactly. Back to the Darius Slay. Then news breaks that Darius Slay is going to be released by the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't really initially say when he's going to be released, because that is very important, right? So if you get released by a certain date, there's a certain amount of cap or dead cap space that's going to be accrued. So if you're a post June 1, you get to save a little bit of money, but you don't get to spend any of that money that you save, right? And then that also kind of screws over the player as well, because now free agency is done at this point. You kind of just got to see who gets hurt in training camp or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he goes from being to release to, oh, actually, just kidding. We're extending him. We're giving him $42 million over the course of 3 years. Bro, what? I've never seen this roller coaster of news, of reporting of a player's status with a team ever in my life. I've never seen somebody go from like, oh yeah, he might get traded to, well, he's probably gonna get released to, actually, just kidding, we're gonna give him more money when we really didn't have to give him more money.
You don't think Twitter bullied?
What's funny is there was the thought that the Cowboys might have released this morning the Zeke news as like a way to try to bait his camp into taking a pay cut.
It didn't
They
work.
probably did, to be fair.
But it looks like it's the opposite for the Eagles, because they just ended up giving Slay more money. So.
Yeah, listen, I'm totally fine with giving Slay a little bit more money, because the way the Eagles do business is whatever is reported is not what the player is actually going to get. Like, Howie Roseman is known, at least within like the Philly reporting area, the local beat or whatever, for doling out void years. Lots of void years. So this contract could essentially be, all right, Darius Slay, we're going to give you $23 million fully guaranteed for this year, and then we're going to cut you next season because you'll be 33 and you're going to be really expensive. That could be it. And then the Philadelphia Eagles will now have to pay the piper later down the line, like in 2025, 2024, 2026, however they split this up. So I don't know, man. It's weird. Do I think Howie Roseman got bullied by Twitter? Maybe because where did you go? Like, what happened in those 24 hours that you go from, yeah, we're just going to cut you to, you know what, buddy? You know what? I think you do deserve a raise. Let's run this thing back. Where the hell are you getting this cap space, Howie Roseman? How are you going to pay Jalen Hurts? I don't know. That's not my problem.
The cap's not real.
Yeah, it's not real until it is real. Look at the Los Angeles Rams. Like, that's a team that's going to be in poverty franchise status for at least a decade because they don't have any room. The New Orleans Saints somehow, some way, are always like over the cap, and yet they can still sign players. It doesn't make any sense.
The thing with what's happening with the Rams is anyone takes that trade for the 5-year run that they had with a Super Bowl win, and pretty much they probably three others other years could have gotten one. So I think you take that 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, sure. But now you're in a market that is already kind of apathetic to your presence anyways. So it's not like you're going to be banking in hella money. Like you'll probably be making your money on tickets because they're so goddamn expensive. But you're not must see. You weren't must see even as a Super Bowl contender in that city. It might work for a different franchise that has a fan base that actually cares about their team. But whatever. Congrats, Rams. You did it. You won a Super Bowl like not too long ago, and now you're going to be in purgatory in a market that does not care about pro football, unless they're the Raiders.
They're going to be just as. I mean, that purgatory. I mean, every team's that's not winning is basically in purgatory. I don't know. I just think that
it's a different type of purgatory. They can't sign anybody.
You'll take a couple down years. You'll take a couple down years for that massive stretch of winning.
Listen, they can't sign anybody, and they barely have any draft picks over the next however many years. Like, that's a real purgatory. Not like, oh, we can't get out of this 500 slump, or we can't really be a threat because we're just a paper tiger. No, they're just gonna be bad. They're gonna be bad, and it's gonna take them a long time to build back up.
Well, what I'm saying is they could start by taking a second Kelvin Joseph and then maybe like a 6th next year for Aaron Donald.
Or how about this? You offer them 3 5th-round picks and you swap Calvin Joseph with Aaron Donald. I think that might get you something because at this point the Rams are now going from fuck those picks to hey, we kind of need these picks.
All right, that's fair. You know what? If they want to take lesser picks and just get a quantity of them, we're willing to have that conversation.
There you go. Listen, Dallas Cowboys. If you need somebody to negotiate, I'm not opposed to putting my midnight green in the closet and just repping some blue and white for a hefty paycheck.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to spend Jerry's money.
Exactly. But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles have a strange offseason. They're bringing back Fletcher Cox, which I groaned. Like, a lot of his stats look nice. He had like 7 sacks, 34 pressures, but then you think about it, he capitalized on the people around him just being so good. From Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargrave, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. Like, this guy was getting sacks as kind of like cleanup sacks, right? Like, the quarterback stepping up into the pocket and into his arms. Very rarely did he ever look like the Fletcher Cox of old, where he was dominant, pushing the pocket back, beating his man one-on-one. And now we get another year of him kind of stumping the growth of the younger defensive tackles. So whatever, he's a quality defensive tackle on a one-year deal. Jason Kelsey's back. I love how Eagles Twitter has been saying, "Oh man, we got Jason Kelsey back for cheap." He's the highest paid center in the league in terms of like 1-year salary. Like that is not cheap. What are you talking about? That's not a hometown discount. He actually got a pay raise, I think. Which hey, he's deserving of it. He's an All-Pro center. He's the best center in the league, in my opinion. That's great, but let's not pretend like this guy came back at a discount. He's like, I want top of the market value. And we can do this dance all over again next season of will I, won't I retire? Which, hey, if you're as good as he is, I don't blame him. He's beloved in Philadelphia. So he's never caused any problems in the locker room. He's not going to be like an Aaron Rodgers who will I, won't I, really is going to be grading towards the fan base.
Jason Kelsey next year has the 6th highest center cap hit.
Cap hit, but I think cap hit and annual salary is a little different because
It is,
he
but
has
I mean,
void years on that. So
there's-
it's the cap. So the cap
but
hit's
the cap hit's the important number.
Yeah.
For
for
the team.
Yeah, for team building, yes. For just the purposes of
Yeah.
fan talk, I think it's like that yearly average kind of matters a little bit more.
Like I don't care if I don't care if you pay someone $300 million for one season if the cap hit's only $2 million.
Yeah.
Like that's I'm okay with I'm just I'm okay with that.
For sure.
But I would have thought he'd been higher, honestly. So I was kind of surprised that he was only 6th with that.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, Howie Roseman loves to do void years, fake years to kind of lower the cap hit in the immediate future or in the immediate, and then deal with it in the future. And the guy has the most job security outside of the Jones boys and Will McClay. That he can just, Howie Roseman can be like, I'll deal with that in 5 years or 3 or 4 years because I know I'm going to be here. But Philadelphia.
And if not, fuck that guy.
Exactly. Fuck that. Whoever my predecessor, whoever succeeds me, you deal with that. Philadelphia Eagles, they have gotten worse as expected by losing some key free agents. They lost their whole linebacking core. They might lose their whole safety core. They lost Miles Sanders. Bring in Rashard Penny. He's pretty good, I guess, from what I've seen when he is healthy. The question is he going to be healthy? So who knows, but that's what the draft season is for. All right, you replace the guys that you lose, and hopefully the rookies develop into something that you can be proud of and hold your head up high and root for. But that pretty much covers at least this week's free agent talk. There's still some things that I think we should talk about next week, like Lamar Jackson and some of the greater NFL moves that don't pertain to our teams. And now, boys,
for sure. And there's still going to be guys, more guys signing and more things clearing up. We're still waiting for Tom Brady to retire, so.
If he does that, maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. It depends on if he can get Giselle back or not. If he doesn't, then I'm calling it right now. He's coming back. If he does, he's not coming back. He's not coming back.
Dude, I bet he had one conversation with I bet Jeter and DiCaprio sat him down and they're like, all right, dude, look, here's how you do this. And he was like, oh, okay. All right, Giselle, we're done.
Yeah, we definitely got to go over the ayahuasca assassin.
Absolutely. And you know what? We can do that right now. Fuck it.
Well,
we can do it quick.
We do have to do the coaches and everything too, so we can just dump into it next week. It's not even official yet, anyway.
You're right. We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we should probably wait for there to be an actual news, and then we can cover all the extra BS in between the actual news for him, because it's coming. It just hasn't happened yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and then move on to the next part of the football segment. Patrick, you know what to do. Patrick, turn my headphones up.
This is Caesar's XFL Minute.
Because the X of the XFL represents the intersection of dreams and opportunity. You bring the dreams, we brought the opportunity. Now let's get to the game that we all love and why we're here today. XFL, let's ball out, baby!
Let's go. Gentlemen, I know you've heard that new intro that Patrick just made for me about this NFL minute. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson telling us...
The who minute? Sorry? The what minute?
The XFL minute. What did I say? What did I say? I actually don't know what I said.
I think you might have said... You might have said the NFL
Whatever.
minute, but it's all right.
Whatever.
We got
Freudian slip, baby. Listen. This XFL minute, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he's talking about this being the land of opportunity. Well, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I don't give a damn about the XFL this week. All right, we have free agency talk. I do not have time to spend on this. You guys want to know something about the XFL? The DC Defenders are undefeated. That's it. Let's move on to the next topic that actually matters, and that is head coach Fight Club. Patrick, hit my music. We're skipping the XFL this week.
Pass the Rock Caesar presents the NFL Coaches Fight Club Tournament. Bing-a-ma-bob. Yeah.
Boys, this is the real subject. This is the money maker for this particular segment. It's Head Coach Fight Club. This week, we're talking NFC North. And boys, I don't know if you've looked at this, but all of these guys have some interesting matchups. All right, we have Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings led the Minnesota Vikings to a first place division finish. So he gets to face old ass Matt Eberflus. I actually don't know how old Matt Eberflus is, but he looks old as shit. So he's already at a disadvantage. And now we have the 2 and the 3. Dan Campbell, the favorite. He will bite your knees off against Mike LaFleur, who just looks like an accountant out here.
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, Matt, who matters? Who cares? Listen, he's going to get his ass kicked.
Cramming up your cram hole, LaFleur.
He's Peter LaFleur.
Yeah, he's Peter LaFleur. He's getting his ass kicked. Spoiler alert, he's not beating Dan Campbell in a fight. I don't care how old Dan Campbell is. All right? I don't care if he's missing 2 knees, an eye, an appendix, a rib. He's beating the ever-living shit out of Matt LaFleur. But fellas, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Let's talk. The 1 seed versus the 4 seed. Kevin O'Connell, Matt Eberflus meet at the 50-yard line. A quick tale of the tape for our combatants. Kevin O'Connell standing at 6'5", a former NFL quarterback, versus Matt Eberflus, who is surprisingly tall at 6'1". Kevin O'Connell has a 4-inch height advantage, therefore he might have the reach advantage. Gentlemen, what really matters is...
If he doesn't, he's a T-Rex.
Exactly. Gentlemen, let's look at this objectively. I think, just based on the size... Yeah, no, probably not. But, you know, we're here. We're here. We might as well. Do we think that Matt Eberflus has a chance in hell against Kevin O'Connell? Does anybody here even care about Matt Eberflus enough to give this man this little buff that we've talked about before, where he could be fighting in the prime of his youth?
I'll give him 2 seconds worth of talk just to say that he is a linebacker coach by trade, a defensive backs coach and a linebacker coach, so he knows something about how to use your body to hit somebody. You know, I don't think he's gonna be just a tomato can out there. A soup can? No. Is that what they call him?
Yeah, tomato can.
I think Kevin O'Connell would win in the lamest fight ever, and it would be a technical knockout.
It's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be like a Mayweather fight.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, O'Connell's just gonna be like, I don't want to do this to you, and just dodging all of his slow ass punches.
Actually, it's gonna be worse than a Mayweather fight because it's a Mayweather fight without any of the hype. Because at least the hype you can pretend it's gonna be fun for part of the time, and then the fight sucks. But yeah, Kevin O'Connell's gonna win. Yeah,
100%.
Everything about the Bears is terrible, including their coach's fighting ability against my coach.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell, 6'5". In his playing days, he was a healthy 225 pounds. He is currently 37 years old. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, he just wins on physical traits alone. And he's gonna do that thing where he puts his hand on Matt Eberflus' face, and he's gonna swing his arms wildly, and it's gonna be a real boring fight. It's gonna be kind of a meme. But either way, yeah, he advances. It's no contest. The next fight, meeting at the 50-yard line, is the 2 seed. He is the head coach of the Detroit Lions, the future NFC North champs, Dan Campbell.
We'll see.
I'm gonna bank on it. All right, and his opponent, possibly the coach of the 4th place team next season, Matt LaFleur, standing at 5'11" and 110 70 pounds soaking wet. I don't know. It's not a very big guy. Gentlemen, I think we're all in agreement. This is a unanimous one-punch knockout by Dan Campbell. This man is insane. He has the eyes of a killer.
I say it's a mauling because Dan Campbell is a competitor and he takes his competitive game seriously. But then as soon as he's declared the winner, he's going to immediately cry and try to tend to Kevin O'Connell's wounds.
Yeah, I can see that, man.
Well, he's not fighting Kevin O'Connell, first of all, sir. This is Matt LaFleur he's beating up.
Oh, right. Wait.
You got ahead of yourself.
Oh, Wait, I thought that one already got done. I thought we just skipped over it. I didn't think we gave Matt LaFleur a fucking chance.
No,
we're not. We're not. But this is the part where we're not.
No, he's Dan Campbell doesn't get a buy. He doesn't get an automatic advancement in this
He gets
tournament.
2 buys. What are you talking about?
No, sir.
He basically gets a buy all the way to the damn title game.
I'm gonna get my chance to make my case.
Let's hear your case for Matt LaFleur winning this fight, please. I would love to hear.
Not this one.
He wants to make
this one.
No, we're done with Matt LaFleur. It's over.
Yeah.
No one thinks that that's serious. He's gonna snap him like a twig and not even at him.
7 degrees Matt LaFleur, who can't even tame Aaron Rodgers, is probably not gonna be able to stop Dan Campbell in a fight. All right, makes sense.
There we go.
Caesar, I haven't asked you this yet.
What's up?
What kind of fights are these? Are they allowed to do like
this is just plain old
UFC style, like take them to the ground submissions?
Listen, this is just a plain old fist fight. Like this is just
okay.
Imagine you just get 2 guys who are just pissed off at each other, and one starts swinging, and then they're just fighting, right? Like that's it. That's the kind of fight this is. No rules. There is no rules in this fight. It's just one guy with his fist and another guy with his fist, and they're just swinging.
So they're kind of like hockey fights.
Kind of, yeah.
Well,
go for it. It's like a fight you can get at a bar, you know?
So low key, Bill Belichick is really number 1 seed here because this is anything goes.
He is a cheater. You are right. You're very correct. He could sneak his way. He might grab somebody by the nutsack and just be like, "I got you. What are you gonna do?" And then poke him in the eye. Hit him in the throat.
He's gonna put like a stun, like some sort of stun agent on a glove, like that is like skin colored, and put it on his hand so it looks like it's his naked hand. And as soon as he touches his opponent, they're just gonna collapse.
That could happen. Although the man is 70 years old, so he may not have the fastest reflexes. You know, he might, depending on his opponent. He
successfully derailed it.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see when we get to the AFC.
Right,
but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go with the 1 seed versus the 2 seed in this one. Now, before you get to your case here, Patrick, let's do yet again one more tale of the tape, right? So, of course, Kevin O'Connell, 6'5", 225 pounds in his playing days versus Dan Campbell, 6'5" as well. These are some 2 tall men. Although Dan Campbell, much bigger in his playing days, listed at 265 in his prime, in his heyday. He's probably still carrying about 240 pounds of weight on him. He's still a big, big man. You look at the fire in his eyes. That man wants all the smoke. There's no chance in hell Kevin O'Connell wins this fight. But I'm not the judge, jury, and executioner in this. This is a discussion between the 3 of us. Patrick, please, I would love to hear your defense of Kevin O'Connell and why he could win this fight.
All right. So Kevin O'Connell is getting. I was just looking at it. There it is. He's got a 3-inch reach, 3-inch extra reach on his arms. At their combines, he's only outweighed. He's only outweighed by 40 pounds.
Only 40 pounds. Okay.
Yeah, but what good is the reach if the arms are snapped in half?
He's gonna have to get to. How is he gonna snap his arms in half?
Because he's a bigger man.
He's in psycho. He has that dog in him. Look at Kevin O'Connell.
Yes.
He has a chihuahua in him.
His hands are only 1 inch bigger.
And
With their man hands.
yeah, they're man hands. Those hands actually be lifting weight.
Kevin O'Connell has pedicures. Manicures, whichever one it is.
I've never seen someone
Kevin
look so
O'Connell.
soft.
Kevin O'Connell did not do the bench press at his combine, so I didn't
Oh,
have
wow.
any stats there.
That's a tough one. No, that's a tough one.
I'm sorry to lose faith in this argument that I had no faith in to begin with.
Yeah, no. Dan Campbell
all
was
right, Dan Campbell can have it. That's fine.
Yeah, no, of course he was.
We'll take the division wins. We'll take the division wins. He can have the Pass the Rock head coach Fight Club win.
There was never a question. There was never a doubt in anybody's mind that Dan Campbell is the undisputed champion of the NFC North head coach Fight Club. He advances as the 1 seed into the winner's bracket. Kevin O'Connell can go on into the loser's bracket. Next week, gentlemen, we will be talking NFC South.
Oh, I gotta build a loser's bracket.
We did talk about
That's easy. It's mostly just copy paste. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So just an update in the top left corner of the bracket. We have gotten down to our quarterfinalists. No, our what is one step back?
Semi?
Semifinalists?
No.
Nope. Other way.
just the second round.
Quarter?
16. Sweet 16. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Elite 8. Elite 8. Our Elite 8. Ron Rivera and Dan Campbell will be facing each other.
Oh, God.
And
When
I
we
still
get
have
there
one of those
in a couple
upgrades to
weeks.
use.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's used one yet.
Turn up.
See, I was confused about that, so let me ask about that again. Is that one per us or one per each coach?
One per us.
Okay.
So we can only use it one time.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And
I like it.
just some clarification. Should Becky you want to use his on Ron Rivera and Patrick, should you want to use it on Dan Campbell, then they're both in their prime for that fight.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Something to think about, but honestly, I might take Dan Campbell. We'll talk about it next week or in like 4 weeks. Wait, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 7 weeks, we'll talk about that.
something to look forward to, boys. Something to look forward to. Oh, dude. I wanted to do the NFC West next, but like those are all small guys who look like they're going to get rocked as they advance. Like the NFC,
It's a loser's bracket.
yeah, all of them should be in the losers bracket. Honestly, just so you get an idea of who's in the West.
It's Arthur Smith, by the way. I already know it's going to be Arthur Smith. It's because he's a big, lumbering looking dude.
Wait, is he in the West?
No, he's in the South.
Oh, you said West.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
in the West,
okay.
you have Jonathan.
It's okay. I already, while looking at this graph or bracket that I made, I already realized that I somehow have Frank Reich in the AFC South and the NFC South, so I need to fix something here.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but just so you guys get an idea of who's in the West, you have Jonathan Gannon, and if you ever seen that guy, he's not very imposing. Sean McVay, again, not a guy who's very imposing. Pete Carroll and fucking Kyle Shanahan. You're definitely looking at four guys who should all just automatically go into the losers bracket. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there in 2 weeks.
We can have some fun with that.
I think.
Yeah, that one's gonna be probably the most debated one, probably.
We're going to be drawing at straws. Is what we're going to be doing.
For outcomes.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that concludes this segment right here. Yeah, I got nothing left in the tank for this one, boys. Let's just pass the rock over to Bethke and talk some hoops.
Thank you for listening to Pass the Rock. Please join us in part 2. Bye.